Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Silk Road's Caravan Kings. This is actually the same playthrough that's, ongoing as it is part 3, where yes, I did return to Venice and got a pretty good reward and got a nice residence, and I decided, well, let's go out on another adventure. And then they'll tell me where to. So this time, from Constantinople to the steppes, taking the other alternate route to China. So, but this time, those skills and opinions are saved over. As I'm a journeyman of agility, while novice of everything else, which I'm sure will increase over time. And I only have a few of these, just to start with, simply for the sake of it. And since we're going to the steppes, it's mostly populated by the Tingri, as my opinion towards them isn't that high, but I'm sure it'll be improved upon. And got a lot of money with me, and everything is full, so we are ready to travel. So, found passage on Amuda for me to my goods, costing only 32 ducats. The journey to Tanis is 35 days sail away, buying some pound supplies. Let us go. They say that the sea air has all sorts of positive effects. After a deep breath, looking in the horizon, can't help but see why. But what does it really do? It's balancing my humors. Of course, my humans always need help defending against the medicine that can be found all around everyday life. The salt air helps me to clean my lungs of the poison. It is science. Just keep it strong. Out at sea, I could see the world stretch before me. I hear the sailors singing. Across water, sip the smell of the sea air. I can really see the sea, though. An endless blue rocket back and forth, back and forth. Come to think of it, I'm actually feeling quite unwell. Sometime in the galley may help. Nothing like a meal to stay away nausea. Unfortunately, don't make it as far as the mere smell of the food has me running it up to my stomach overboard. At least I'll be hungry later. That's the place we're going to there. Nice. The captain's asked the merchants to board of us to attend his cabin for even fine dinner. It would be a good place to be seen as well as a fine meal, even though a couple days ago I was unwell. I'll just say it is a good chance to network. The merchants dressed in their finery, ranging from fine silks to just above the standard cloth. After being seated, a thimble of wine is poured over me as I discuss the intricacies, working ducats over the Roman coins and the fair price soak in the newly reconquered Holy Land. I'm so bored. Bored. That's what Garfield would say. Alright, we are here in Tanis. There's no need to rest now. Unless they sell something, we got lots of supplies. 55 travel days away. 55 days travel. See? That's the danger about to go in this area, but so we shall head over there, as it will be by the River Don. While what is true in Europe is true in the rest of the world, it seems even in this faraway land. Rats still litter the streets, running through refuse and gutters, worming their way in through the small gaps. The slime seems particularly plagued with them. Well, you better set some traps. Thankfully, these little devils have little interest in my goods. But to rid the world of the scourge of rats is a favor to all peoples. My delicate traps filled to every campsite I stop at will surely be the end of many a rat, even after I'm gone. A rat catcher. Still have novice intelligence, not yet reached apprenticed yet. let's up the game speed, knowing it's a long way to get there. My fellow travelers are usually quite competitive when it comes to their cultures. There's no more of it during meal times. This week it's my turn. Well, I may be the only Latin person. Spent time practicing, of course. You know the usual result. You've seen the event before on previous 2 parts of my video, so to speak. So, not one of them was sick this time. Okay, I'll take a moment to check on my spies. For a few past few dozen, I start to feel worrying low, especially with so much of a journey ahead of me. It wouldn't possible with just one of the spices in my inventory to refresh enough supplies to last me several more days. Well, I got plenty of spices, so I have no choice. The staple foods for any travel are things that don't expire easily. Dried meat, dried fruits, flour. Inevitably, something will go a bit hard or soft or infested. My mixture of spices with my companion's leftovers is both a tasty treat and a great way to refill the supply bag. Maybe not the infested bits. Went over the weight limit just for getting a lot of supplies, just to spice things up. Oh, this again. Broke my best walking stick and all that. Well, since we're in Tatar land, don't want to make him mad, so talk about the pagan Indian. I throw down my bags and felt that the damned pagan knows exactly what I think of. Swearing, no amount of condemnation and threats of hellfire. When he overcomes the shock, he lets me have it right back. We yell ourselves into exhaustion. I sure showed him. Still got my loot, so typically go for a marching song, but how about a song about camels? I spent days trying to think of words that rhyme with camel, and what rhymes with them. By the end of the week, I have a small taste of the ditty and gathered the camp around to hear my ballad. There are mixed reactions, but they do seem to enjoy the tune. It was only a sample. Trying to get another camel in the future. As I settled down for the evening, I noticed my camel seems to understated the weight. I call a little more than usual. I descended backside and noticed that it's looking a little leaner than I remember. You need bulking up. If my camel can't heave, then it can't do my job. Make sure that the camel has ample grazing time now, and spent the extra time in the evening finding greener pastures. Pretty soon my camel's looking back at the fighting sheep. Those are some big humps. Yeah. Only 10 coins it is. And you got the money. So the medicine man strips me and has me lay on the flat ground. My mother prepares to see him relieve some small needles from his pouch. After a few hours of delicate tingling, I feel invigorated. Good enough to whistle, even though it isn't until I have to pay the man. In a more enlightened society, this would have been free. Passing by north of Astrakhan. An arm wrestling competition has broken out in camp, pitching ethnic groups against each other. I'm the only Latin amongst my group, and I thus far have been unchallenged. But now an undefeated Tatar is showing his bulging muscles upon it out. But for money, I drop a few coins in the sand as I decide to do battle with the Tatar Goliath. My bet is quickly matched, rubbing the dirt in my hands. I set off against the power of his arms, line in his head bulge, and his face turns red as he slowly pushes me down. When suddenly the air explodes on him, his arm folds beneath us. I won! Alright, now I have apprentice strength. Can carry a little more. For the last few days, I've noticed increasing amount of meowing around me. The stray appears to be taking the following around. It is now sending my foot purring. Looks like you need a new home. So I picked the cat off before the stroke its matted hair. I could do with the bath. I think as it purrs away in my hands. I got my own cat for the first time in a long time. Just checking what's missing. A local farm with a rodent problem. It's over to let my caravan stable barn in the night of returning my cat loose in the farm. Deal. The entire caravan is grateful to me and my little murdering machine for the free room and board. We wake up in a pile of hay feeling refreshed on a farm slightly more rodent free. Good teamwork. Trying to be nice with the 10 degree. There's our destination over there. At the turn, my caravan has been put in the rest of the camel owners to shame. Seems that the camels are second nature to them. Entirely unburdened by the need upon them, and totally to the needs. It is as he feels them himself. I will give him 10 ducats to train me. The Tatar takes my coins and begins my instruction. He's a strict tutor and never seems to be off the job. Even hours after I've stopped, he's showing how to hold a rope where to check the camel for disease. Seems to enjoy explaining his talent as much as he enjoys the money. I think I learned something, I hope. Yes, you did. Once we arrive to Ralisk, get another camel. Many companions on silk roads, but they're always transcendent. Changing caravan from town to town. It dawned on me that today the only real consistency is me and my pack animals. Maybe I should sell them to appreciate their company. How about a new saddle for 10 ducats? A fellow merchant on the road has a caravan that looks like it will fit my camel perfectly. Exchange a handful of coins, I unload the weight from my camel and see where the old straps have been dented on the skin. The new saddle seems to distribute the weight of my bags much more evenly. Anything for my camels. Just needed to work on endurance a little more. It's gambling time, so 10 ducats. After mumbling a quick prayer, I set down my large purse to begin to play. The crowd cheers and jeers of each roll. The game winds out, showing the sunset, and I find myself a large profit. Right. Matters little. There is some rumbling spreading around as the word has spread to my camp that a nomad clan is pitched nearby has a public execution tomorrow. I must admit, I'm curious to see how things do out here. Will I attend? Of course, a person would just say, this should be fun. But I'll just say, only to save my curiosity. Again, it's the first time out here. My caravan heads to the huge clan camp intensively for supplies, but most areas deserted with a large gathering on the outskirts. I head towards the crown with just enough time to see the horses trampling over a carpet. I think it is a mere strange ritual as they unfold the cloth. Oh my. If I were to say this should be fun, I'd probably increase the morale a bit. Just before we arrived. Can I think of anything more relaxed than sit by a cool stream after a long day's work? I want a intense fishing session, extracting every beast that has the audacity to swim in my stream. And the fish reaper. Boy, did these fish make a mistake by existing. I throw some chum in the water, and anyone who dares make the slightest noise gets yelled at as I go on a hunt. My intense fishing didn't do the relaxing, but sure did catch a lot of fish. Life is the game to meet one. August 14th, so still summer. How far is it to get to another place? Druzbach. 45 travel days. It was 55 earlier, but not 45. Like to have another camel. Oh, of course, have to pay the tariffs for each trade you go to the inventory. We have the supplies, it's just furs are cheap in these parts. Why not? Think of the amount of furs we could sell over there to China. Give me all of it! Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down. Have a few supplies, alright? Make it full. Remember, we're gonna buy silk in China. It's too expensive to buy it here. And I'm willing to risk a long travel. I still have max health and max morale. I may be overconfident about this, but we'll go to the next area. A Chinese man has joined my caravan recently, to much of my great interest. Today I saw him fishing, thinking it might be a chance to strike up a conversation I set on my own run. Then he challenges me to a little fishing competition. I bet 5 ducats. The competition will continue until sundown. My opponent's eyes fixed on the water, as if he can will the fish to be caught. Hours pass in silence. Whenever it seems like he's eking out ahead, I catch a handful in quick succession. I just finished reeling one when he lays down his rod. Both count my catches. I won. And I get to keep the said fish to eat. I watch a man from faraway Cathay perform some sort of ritual. And it's a fascinating meditative movie on the muscles, and he does it all in absolute silence. He thinks it's some sort of prayer, but upon question I discover what he calls a martial art. What will you teach me? The man sighs and promises to teach me some basic movements. For the following evenings he snaps me with the stick whenever I fail to imitate his movements. Every day I improve just a little. With lighter slaps and each the closer I am, I feel more sure about my body than before. I know Kung Fu. Yes, just again, it's a long way travel, so just convince him to leave. And it took 3 days. Damn it. Sorry about that. Black oil seeps out of the ground in parts around here, though the idea of black tar rising out of the ground sounds like devil. In these lines, oil is applied to the sores of the camel's ointment. Well, give it a try. As I pass by a well speared in the black oil and wrap around some into a rag, the thick liquid stick it and lets nauseating fumes. I quickly apply to some of the back of the legs of my camel. It doesn't seem to appreciate the gesture. Kicking and fussing will come soon after. Dumb beast. Just a reminder. The furs in my inventory are looking more appealing with each passing cold night on the road. They are stocked to be bought and sold. So they'll do little good if I freeze to death before I get, or they can never see a market after all. I could make a cloak with one. With a simple use of belt, I managed to fashion a cloak out of a long brown fur hide. The skin is soft to the touch, and the merchant that sold it, it was bear skin, so it must be good for keeping out of the cold. Last night I started sweating when I sat too close to the fire. This thing is toasty. Better use the fur, but keeping the health up. Been fishing all this evening to little success, just some little nibblers that weren't of bait. I was about to pack up when I feel a strong tug on a line, thinking I got snagged on a tree, to start to realize I see a shadow of a Goliath under the water fighting back. Gotta do it. Yes, we sure got it. We eat night. Tangri are impressed. Over my career, started to collect quite a collection of bags. Well, none of them are any more special than a rough sack which used to carry green. Can't seem to let go. After all, how will I find my apples if I don't have an apple bag? These are all essential. I trembled at the thought of someone trying to take away my apple bag. Hell, what they try to mix it with the carry bag. Continue for a long more of the hill than a merchant. At least I know where it is. I don't know if it's a penalty. While resting one evening, I vaguely noticed a man across the bench from me bragging about his ability to put back drinks, claiming that in his homeland that the women drink more than most other men. Such an insult cannot go unanswered. 5 ducats should make it more interesting. Oh boy. The man drinks like a camel, not gonna flag it back for I've even brought it my lips. My vision's been gone for a while now. Just one more. So I think as the world flips me over, when I wake the next day, find my coin pouch lighter. What a headache. Let me slow it down a bit. I just want to say something real quick. Again, there's still going to be more Crusader Kings videos coming up on the Lord Master channel. And we'll soon be playing this other game that's made by the people who made Silk Road's Caravan Kings. And yeah, I'll spare them the food. Gotta please these locals. Look at me more better. What else? Because I got a lot going on in my mind. And yes, in case if you people are the ones that watch Crusader Kings for a living, but also watching my video, yes, I am aware of the upcoming Crusader Kings DLC later this year. So yes, I've heard about the news, but I'm still going to be committed to doing the ongoing Crusader Kings 2 series with the Gupta dynasty of northern India. And there'll be no doubt that once I'm done with that series, then I will return to Crusader Kings 3 just in time for their upcoming new DLC whenever it's released. And all that. Okay. So, I could sell on my companions. Some of my companions take up on the offers. Seeing the sheer size of my haul, they're not eager to pay standard prices. I managed to rid some of the fish and boost my own personal while at it. Alright, get back to traveling. Hold on. Excuse me. It started as a mere trickle of rain, but the downpour has been unrelenting. Though at first it was merely annoying to be constantly soaked and having to pour the water out of my boots. The less developed roads of the Great Silk Roads become dangerous to travel on. We must tread carefully. I try my best to maintain my composure and move down the slippery quagmire that used to be a dirt track. Down the track, some stones came loose and lose my footing, winding up soaked and filthy and not fully injured. Oh. Now either my caravan master is not as experienced as been letting all the recent rain has expanded the banks of what should be a small stream into something resembling a slow-moving river. If only I had a gondola. Rough it! I begin to coax the camel in the waters. The rest of the caravan looks bewildered. The water pushes against my body gently. The rest of the caravan begins to descend to the supposed stream as I watch from the other bank. Now I'm all soggy. Health is still good. Morale is very well. While watching the sun set in this strange land, thousands of miles away from home, I take some comfort in having my cat on my lap. It seems no matter how far I go, a cat is a cat, and it reassures that somewhat that my destination, no matter how foreign, can only be so strange. Who wants a treat? I reach in my pouch and pull out a little sliver of dried meat and feed it to my cat. The cat purrs contentedly. Time to rest. It's winter time. We gotta rest here. While the opportunity to stay in a tower is usually a welcome luxury on the road, during the winter it's more of a necessity to break away from the cold. It won't be cheap though, especially since other travelers had the same idea. 10 ducats for room and board, please. By the crackling fire with my feet under a thick blanket, I could scarcely believe that the world outside, as harsh as it is, the bitterness of the world drifts away until morning, when I must head back in that harshness, all the poorer. I feel better. Gee, imagine that, trying to travel on the steppes if this is your first time and you did not have this kind of agility. That would have caused a lot of problems. Especially with one camel, limited supplies and all that. And you know, quite honestly, I'm very good health and very good morale. There's no need to rest all the way. How about we use it for work? You know, make some money. As I will get a job as a marketeer. Again. 1 month's travel of winter doesn't hurt. $55 travel days. Okay, let's just work one more time, simply for the sake of it. Karakoram, the capital of the Mongolian Khanate. Because in that time of Marco Polo, well, this was during the time of when Kublai Khan was running things here in that part of the empire. I mean, gone were the days of the mighty Mongol Empire built by Temujin, Genghis Khan. So, let's travel. It's a long way there again. According to excited chatter that some of my traveling companions shall be stopping outside of an inn tonight that is particularly well known for its hospitality. Growing up in Venice, I know that it is wise to budget my coins before I start drinking. Since I made all this money while working, 10 ducats for a warm bed. A warm bed and a meal. A warm bed and a meal. A warm meal and a bed. It doesn't matter what I just said, but still. Such simple things I've scorned for so long in the pursuit of wealth. I wake up the next day truly refreshed, and waking back with sore bones on hard ground. My cats may be a stray, but today I've always considered them yours. That was till a young villager boy petted him as I set up camp for the night. But now my cat's been missing all evening. Well, cats are very temporary, just like some of the equipment. Which I kept and maintained, but you can't maintain a cat forever because, you know, they're always... I don't want to, you know, antagonize the local boy here because it's English, so... Obviously the cat makes its own choices. I don't see my cat until the morning the next day. It is stood by a young villager boy and watches me leave, and I pretend not to notice it as I wave it goodbye. I wish it the best. Cats are very choosy on their owners. I still know Kung Fu. Still trying to increase the skills. Come on, you need bulking up, camel. Just trying to increase the strength. Going through mountain passes now. It would seem that God's wrath stretches all the way to the lands of the idlers, shakes the earth with a thunderous storm beneath my feet. Try to calm the camels. I hastened the camels and the caravan not a moment too soon. Even bound together to look ready to bolt. I grip onto their leads for dear life, being thrown about by the power of the earth and the camels. Soon the earth ceases movements and check about for bruises. Yeah, that hurts, but I do what I had to do. Train me. Journeyman intelligence. Once we arrive there, get another camel. Bring me more beer. I order a round of beers before I'm surrounded by mugs and fellow drinkers egging one side and the other. A man can truly drink like a camel, but years of my training makes this collapse for me inevitable. Another round of drinks, please. Further increase in intelligence. There's little that flies track more than camels. Most flies stick to the camels, but only bothering merchants on their way out. My fly, on the other hand, has been pestering all day. Every time I think it's gone, I hear the drone of its wings and dives for my neck once more. At the end of my rope. Well, I'll try to kill it. I've packed quite a blow for the trader, which I know, but any time I feel even the slightest twinge on the skin, I soar at a clenched fist, only to find red skin and no fly. I fight until I can no more. Realize I haven't heard a fly in a while. Think of I was scared until I feel an all too familiar buzz in my ear. You're supposed to slap it, not punch it. Although it sounded similar on the mic, but still. Shoes crafted with the letter of a giant snake which never went out. Crystal ball that reveals my future. A cure for all that ails me. A magician from a far off land is plying his trade along the road, selling all sorts of dark artifacts at 5 ducats a price. How about finally a cure for the common cold? I place a tiny glass bottle on the bottom of my satchel. It takes some time to make sure that nothing is going to damage my bag, but I accomplish it eventually and I can rest easy knowing my health is protected from now on. Drop from heaven itself. Journeyman strength. Can carry a lot more crap. This region has seen a great deal of conflict in recent times, and passing armies supplied themselves from the villages. In response, the locals are taking a hiding their food away from the villages, having diverted from the path to relieve myself stumbled on the high green. Yeah. Because of the weight limit. Help myself. Help myself with supplies, loading up as much grain as I can carry. Struggle to make it back to the caravan. Just laid it down my supplies are, yet I'm still tempted to return for more. Nobody in the caravan needs to ask where I found my supplies. They probably won't even notice. Sorry about that. Just wanted to have a lot of food because, you know, traveling across the steppes and mountain passes is a long way. On a particularly cold evening, I managed to gather wood for a particularly large fire, which soon spread to a hedgerow as a particularly dry season. In the end, the local village had to rush over from spreading any further. The village wants the charge of both the wood and container. You got it. I'm so embarrassed to agree to their terms on the spot. I quickly fork over the coin and begin to set off, hoping to camp at the next village over. The villagers block my exit and insist on spending the night indoors as a guest. What hospitality! Well, of course they are. Tengri, the locals are nice people and just got the achievement. The Court of Kublai. Now that I'm here, I can buy a camel at a much cheaper price thanks to the higher opinion. Just looking. Yeah, maybe healthy, but 45 travel days away to Xi'an. You got it. I'm feeling well. I'm feeling good. Gotta keep going. Lute is generally considered to be a soothing instrument. The sweet sounds from the string, rivaled only by the angelic harp. In my hands it would seem more demonic. My fingers just can't find a way around it. The caravan's taking notice of some clearly aggravated talk in native tongues about my abilities. Practice away from camp. If they don't want to hear me anymore, then they won't. I take walks away from my campsite in the evening and sit down and practice for a few hours, which each passing day I get some of my old groove back, until the birds themselves are singing along with my fingers. They just don't know what they're missing. I am sat by a pond, and not a minute after dangling my bait in the water I catch a fish, then another, and then another. By the end of the night I feel like a disciple with more fish than I know what to do with. Shouldn't need to resupply for a while. I'm an angler. You got it. I gotta start selling some supplies, not all, but some. The caravan's on an odd blend of different peoples. While I prefer to keep healthy distance from their strange ways, but I can't help but find their cousins interesting. Noticing me watching them to prepare food as Saracens offered to dine with me. Smells nice. Yeah, There's the endurance that I needed. Oh dear. Hide my goods. Money we can accept to lose. They stole 100 ducats from me. But it's alright. In this region of the world, I must get the consent of the local ruler before I could trade. Who rules this empty land here? When you think of it realistically. In lieu of a formal tax, I instead expect to exchange gifts. One such meeting is to take place this evening, and I must select a gift. 50 ducats for the golden chalice. I enter the Lord's great hall. Courtiers surround me as I make my approach. Heads down with eyes averted, I place my gift in the servant's hands, who brings it to his lord. The lord seems impressed. Turning the ornament over his hands, he grants me the trade. Thank God. Now we're crossing through the Gobi Desert. If I spill salt, I must throw a pinch over my shoulders. Sneezing before work is bad luck. Don't eat yellow snow. The list of superstitions that traders hold are endless. Any downturn in fortune is being blamed on my inability to hold these rules. Perhaps I should entertain these pagan ideas. I'll just try to follow along. Study these superstitions like the Bible. And first to bless someone when they sneeze, and knock on wood almost any time I speak, is feared the luckiest man around. Why am I not making more money? Local dignitary thing. 20 coins from varying lands. A dignitary looks at my gift with interest, eyeing many of the prints on the coins and their varying weights and gold profiles. He brings the ducat before my eyes, asking about my land. The knight draws as the dignitary explains his own land's economy, sharing many attempts not for outsider ears. Productive evening it's been. Do I really need another cat? What? I'll just say, anyone want to buy a cat? I pick up the little beast and offer it among the rest of my wares. Its wild nature and stray aesthetic does little to help me find a buyer. Eventually a man with a mouse problem takes me up the offer. Something for nothing. just want to get some of that money back after the ruffians. Betfin made some money. Yeah, we know about Buster Jones, so I simply not traveled far enough. Just up the agility a bit. Once we reach to expert agility, good. I'll try to figure it out. I return to measure things, but the size of my hands and the distance one kebab field day. It's taking some time, but think I might be gaining hang of it. What's a cubit? It's right there. Well, let's bait it. Son of a beeswax. Does nothing ever work against these flies? I could sell him 3 food. I weigh a particularly heavy loaf of bread in front of the merchant's eyes. He practically launched himself at me, handing me a few entire pouch full of local coins in exchange for a few supplies I could spare. 20 ducats is almost too much. That's highway robbery. Alright, let me open up the contract again. You know, when we set off there, and traveling the steppes was a pretty good experience. It was a long way, a few settlements. The Indian route was a long way. But still, if we can make it back with at least 19 silk or even more, I mean, I plan on buying a lot more than they can imagine. And supplies is not really a problem. Well, let me rest here for a week just to, you know, get healthy again. And it took quite a couple of months, though. As I said, there's plentiful of silk here, and it's very cheap in these parts, as I only have one, because I may never know what to do with one, if one were to ask. Here's an idea. Get it back down to 100. 100 supply. Got it? And now, get all the silk. As much as I can fit. It's like, contract says, it's like, yeah, you need 13 silk. And then we come back with, oh yeah, look at this. Imagine coming back to Venice with 105 silk. As much as these camels and myself can carry. I don't need to sell these. These are just basically added bonus. We're gonna make a huge fortune out of this. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do. And in fact, before we travel on, I just want to, you know, stop this video right here. I know it's a little short than usual compared to parts 1 and part 2, but again, it's the whole thing of, I like to do first part where we travel from where you start and get all the way to Xi'an, and then the other part is from there back to Venice. I'm thinking about sticking with the step route because I had a pretty good experience and no shortages of shortcuts, but I'm going to be coming back with a huge amount of silk because, you know, there's an achievement where if you come back with 100 silk or 100 ivory or 100 furs or 100 spices, they're all achievements. And these supplies are manageable, especially when you get more supplies in events that come up, which especially fishing and all that. So, that's it for part 3. Tune into part 4, coming up next here on the Lord Master Channel, here on Silk Road's Caravan Kings. See you in the next one.